Good God, I did not think I was going to make another one of these videos. But here we go. Before I get started, can someone please contact Call of Duty Mobile and tell them to fix their lag? Because you're about to witness an abundance of lag. Anyways, we all know Ben Shapiro. If you're watching this YouTube video, you know Ben Shapiro. We all know him. And let me just say this. If you're a big fan of him, I don't care. Cool. If you hate him, I don't care. Cool. I don't care. And before I get started, I just want to state this. I'm a Muslim Iranian centralist. So I'm gonna laugh if I hear anybody call me a libtard. That's not gonna work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break your heart. It's not gonna work. It's not a constructive form of criticism. Never will be. Anyways, Ben Shapiro made a video in regards to why he believes that the majority of Muslims are radicalized. Okay, so, and he used a source. So I said, okay, let me watch this video. Let me see what he says. And basically, obviously, I did not agree with him. And I'm going to state why. And whenever I state something, I'm using facts. So I don't want anybody to say, Ben Shapiro's talking about facts. You're not. I am talking about facts. You just need to have a little bit of patience. Watch the video. Don't get too triggered. And no, I will not blow myself up. Has anybody else noticed the people who say the craziest thing about Muslims are the same crackheads who, let's not get into that. Anyways, let's get started. I'm going to roll a couple of clips, clip by clip. And everything that I talk about, by the way, in this video, I'm going to link down, okay, his video, the sources I used, the sources I brought up. I'm going to link everything down there. So let's get right into this, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the first little clip of it.
Hey, I'm Ben Shapiro with Reality Check.
Why, hello there.
A couple of weeks ago, HBO's Bill Maher got into it with the Islamic expert and horrifyingly mediocre actor who should never, ever, 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 ever play Batman, Ben Affleck, over whether Islam was indeed a violent religion. Here's the exchange.
And you painting the whole religion with that.
No, let's get down to who has the right answer here. 1 billion people, you say. All these billion people don't hold any of these...
1.5 or something.
Don't hold these pernicious beliefs?
No,
I wouldn't...
Well, they don't.
Of course, he's not alone in taking the PC position that Muslims the world over are tolerant and liberal. He's joined by our president, Barack Obama.
Islam teaches peace. Muslims the world over aspire to live with dignity and a sense of justice.
Wow, it's just like John Lennon's Imagine. Now, the question isn't whether Islam itself is violent. It's what its adherents believe, because that's what they act upon. There's plenty of violent material in the Old and New Testaments. Hey, I'm an Orthodox Jew. I read the Old Testament a lot. But believers in those particular texts are not currently ramming airliners into towers or beheading journalists or mutilating female genitalia. So, let's examine the question. Is radicalism in the Muslim world a tiny minority phenomenon?
Why, yes it is, but let me see what you have to say. Let's hear what he has to say, ladies and gentlemen.
So to answer that question, we need to define our terms. We're really not talking about people who are active terrorists. Radical beliefs are a lot broader than terrorists, and anybody who argues otherwise is being naive or foolish or disingenuous. But terrorists draw their moral, financial, and religious support from those who are not terrorists themselves. So, who are the radicals? Ben Affleck actually was right on this. There are approximately 1.6 billion Muslims on the planet, and they're from 49 different countries in terms of where they have a majority. All the population stats, by the way, are from Pew Research as of 2011.
Okay, that's good. A source. I like that. Let's see what else.
Indonesia is the world's most populous Muslim country. It's got almost 205 million Muslims living there. According to one 2009 poll, it showed almost 50% of Indonesians actually support strict Sharia law, not just in Indonesia, but in a lot of countries, and 70% blamed the United States, Israel, or somebody else for 9/11. So, you make that calculation, it's about 143 million people who are radicalized. You scared yet? We're just getting started. Okay, Egypt, 80 million Muslims. According to that same 2009 poll, it showed that 65% want strict Sharia law in every Islamic country, and almost 70% said that they had positive or mixed feelings about bin Laden. So that's 55.2 million more radicals. Pakistan has almost 179 million Muslims. 76%, just over 3/4, want strict Sharia law in all Islamic countries. That is another 135.4 million radicals. Bangladesh, not a country you tend to think of as Muslim, but there are 149 million Muslims living there. As of
Okay, so I'm going to fast forward this part because he just goes listing the countries. So he doesn't state anything wrong here. But if you want to see the full list, I'm going to, again, link the video down below. You can go ahead and see the statistic for each nation. I'm going to skip ahead to the last 2 to 3 countries so that we can actually get started with the bulk of the material over here.
we have a very moderate Muslim population. We do. 2.6 million Muslims live here, according to Pew Research. 13% said violence against civilians can be justified. 19% said they were either favorable toward al-Qaeda or just didn't know. Because who knows, really? That's almost 500,000 radical Muslims here in the United States. Here is the total of the countries that we've gone through just now. 680,030,000. 680,030,000 radical Muslims. And that's out of a total population in those countries of 942.4 million Muslims total. And it seems fair to assume that similar proportions of people in countries like Algeria, Syria, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Tunisia, Somalia, and Libya are also radicalized. And if they are, then, well, we're above 800 million Muslims who are radicalized, more than half the Muslims on earth. That's not a minority, that's now a majority, and that's still not even surveying hundreds of millions of Muslims in other countries. In other words, the myth of the tiny radical Muslim minority is just that. It's a myth. And, unfortunately, it's a myth that's going to get a lot of civilized people killed.
Okay, so when one looks at the outside surface, the whole argument, everything seems perfectly logical and reasonable. But if you're a statistician, not even a statistician, if you're somebody who took 1 or 2 basic courses in statistics, you're gonna see a few errors, or not errors, but things that he did not bring up. First of all, it's impossible to survey an entire population of a nation. I'm sorry, I know that hurt a lot of people's feelings with what I just said, but yeah, it's not possible. You can't do that. I'm sorry. Now, an argument against me would be something like, you're right, Farhad, but whenever we take a survey, we apply the sample to the population. You're right about that, and that's a very good point. And I like the fact that you brought that up. But when one actually looks at the report, looks at the research, I'm afraid that Ben only brought up around 30% of the research, and I'm gonna state why. Before I do, let me just say something. All the things he brought up, such as the Sharia law and etc., he didn't even say what it was. He did not say what it was. This is something that usually in reports, in research, they're going to state. If you're going to talk about something, if you want to survey something, you're going to say, okay, this is what we're talking about, and this is what it is. This is its background. He didn't say that. Why? Because the fair majority of people already think they know what it is, but they don't. So for instance, this law, a lot of people think that it's a law that says, go behead people, go do this, go do that. It's not. I'm gonna shock some people here. It's a set of laws. A set of laws. Some of those laws also, not to shock anyone, some of those laws are to not kill, to not steal, to not lie, to etc., etc. These are some of the laws, but will Ben bring it up? No, he won't, because it will not serve to his argument. It will not serve to his purpose. This is a completely human nature to do. This is what we all do. I'm not going to blame him for this. Is it sneaky? Of course it is. But we're just scratching the surface here. Let's continue. First of all, Shapiro consistently used the highest percentages in the report. Okay, let me say something. In a statistical research, there are several statistics. There's several numbers, dozens. The fact that Ben went ahead and cherry-picked which number to say is alarming to me. Because that's not something that you should really be doing. If you're going to be talking about statistics, that's fine. State the biggest number, but state the rest as well. Another thing he did not bring up, by the way, he did this for every nation. Another thing that he did not bring up was the fact that those who voted were actually stating, such as for Sharia law, they said they only wanted these laws to be implemented upon Muslims. So Christians and others, they said, no, they don't have to deal with these laws. It's only us. Does Ben bring that up? No. Why? Because, well, I'm sorry, but again, he cherry picks. He cherry picks facts. And at the end of the day, that's why he only debates with 19-year-old gender studies kids, because because they don't know anything. Anyways, we're getting off topic here. These are two of the biggest mistakes that I saw him make. Not mistakes, but things that he left out. He only pointed out the large numbers, and he didn't state a statistic in the proper language, as I just stated before. But I'm going to continue on because there's something else that is fishy over here. Or not fishy, but I got something to say about it. When Shapiro coins the term radical, he paints it in such a manner and in such a pattern that as if anybody who agrees with any part of the set of the Sharia law is radical. But let me tell you some of the laws. Some of the laws are, not to trigger anybody, don't murder the innocent, don't rape, don't do this, don't do these sort of bad things that we morally follow. You agree with those, right? I hope you do. Well, I'm hoping you do. I'm hoping you have a few brain cells and that you're following these, such as not murdering your innocent, such as not murdering the innocent. If you follow that by Ben's general definition, which essentially just generalizes, you are radical. He never specified that, hey, if you agree with the controversial and violent parts of the Sharia law, then you're a radical. He never said that. If he said that, that would be a different news over here. But he did not say that. And that's something that, really can say a different form of patterns when it comes down to what he's actually trying to preach over here. His message is not really conveying facts. It's about taking facts and presenting them in a how should I say, perverted manner, I guess you could say, because he's technically saying the truth, but he's not. He's only saying it in a way where he will appreciate it being presented. But let me continue. Each nation and sect has a different form as well when it comes to the Sharia law. They have a different idea of it. Some countries follow a stricter, more harsher version, and some don't. So, but Ben doesn't say this. Ben doesn't even say what it is, which is clever of him. He doesn't say what it is. I think he should, because then again, no, he shouldn't, because he would have a bit more dislikes on the video. But this is in general what Ben used. He cherry-picked facts. Again, if you don't believe me, click on the third or fourth link, okay? Because it's going to be right there. The facts are going to be right there. And he took the idea that anybody who supports any realm, any factor, any trait, any characteristic of the Sharia law is by definition a radical. They're not. One of it, again, is to, here's another one. Some of the other Sharia law that the Sharia law states is the daily routines of a Muslim. For example, pray 5 times a day. Oh my God, I'm suddenly a radical. Oh good God. Oh good God. I'm dead. And does that make somebody a radical by just literally praying to the Abrahamic God that both Jews and Christians follow? I don't know. But anyways, this is how his whole agenda follows. He takes facts, he cherry picks facts, and then when it comes down to specific options that he at times does have, he again cherry picks and picks the higher percentage to support his argument. Now, let me say something. I'm not the least bit surprised by this. Ben is the same guy who literally wrote a book calling Palestinians disgusting. Okay? He's the same guy who said this. I'm not shocked. I'm really not. But a lot of people will fall for his whole strategy here. Mostly because the people who will click on this video to watch it, his video, are going to be the same people who want to deep down just feel some sort of reassurance that they're right. So they watch this video, they hear it, and they don't think. They don't say, let me see the report myself. They don't say that. They just want to hear what they like to personally hear. And that's what happens, you know what I mean? That's what consistently happens in society. And Ben does this all the time. This is why I don't think he's smart. I think he's clever. He's clever because he knows how to manipulate. He's clever because he knows how to cherry pick in such a manner that people won't be able to tell. He's clever in the face that he knows who he's talking to. He knows who his audience is. If he's going to talk about a specific subject, he can predict who he's going to talk about. You know what I mean? He's also clever with who he debates. He consistently just debates with 19-year-old idiots who think following a gender studies major suddenly makes you a full-on politician and an expert on politics. That's who he debates. I don't find these people as credible in any manner. But honestly, if he came to my university, I would seriously ask him these questions. But for me to continue on, I'm not the least bit surprised. You know what I mean? This is something that a good amount of conservative debaters and commentators do. They just go to stupid 19-year-old kids and try to debate with them. I don't really know why they do this. Like, easy mode and winning an argument in easy mode of an idiot doesn't really mean anything to me. You know what I mean? But hey, this is Ben Shapiro. You know what I mean? He cherry picks what he wants to say, and then he will present them in a manner that is going to seem attractive to those who agree with the title, or obviously that we know who's going to watch the video. You know what I mean? And to anybody who doesn't agree with this video, you therefore are not just disagreeing with me, but you're disagreeing with facts. Like, I'm sorry, but those are the facts. Again, links down below have legitimate, and no, they're not fake news, have legitimate sources. They are legitimate sources. Watch them, read them, take your time. And no, I'm not a libtard, I'm a centralist. You're gonna have to come up with a better nickname to use, you know what I mean? And no, saying that I'm gonna blow myself up is also not gonna work. But in general, yeah, that's really it for the end of this video. Also, the comment section was beautiful, because I saw just a bunch of people saying just because they don't actually go around being the terrorists doesn't mean they aren't supporting it. And then so many people said they low-key support all this. I'm like, I don't think I ever supported it. Yeah, I never did. And say that to the U.S. soldiers who are actually Muslim. I really want them to say that. I'm like, they won't, because, this is the right wing. They don't actually have a brain. I have yet to know when they'll get one. I don't know. Both the right wing and the left wing. I think they're both idiots. But, yeah, that's basically it for the rest of this video. I don't really have much else to say. I was kind of all over the place when it came down to this video. I didn't have a script. I didn't write anything up. I was just going along with it. But, yeah. Thank you for watching the video. If you got triggered, not my problem. You got triggered by facts. And, yeah, have a great day. And no, Ben Shapiro is not a man of facts. He's a man of cherry picking. That's what he is. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay safe.